Hello everyone, this is Joe Cool 10. Welcome to my review of Lego Batman Legacy of the Dark Knight. So I decided to set this review up similar to how I did Lego Star Wars The Skywalker Saga. And so we're going to jump in and I'm going to share with you all my thoughts on this game here. Um, so let's go ahead and get started. So first of all, let's talk about the story mode. The story mode was really good. There were 16 levels in total. Some of them, didn't have like collectibles and stuff. I think, but um, a lot of the levels recreated scenes from the Batman movies, whether it's Batman 1989, Batman Returns, Batman Forever, Batman and Robin, the Nolan trilogy, um, and also Robert Pattinson's The Batman. So um, overall, the scene recreations from the movies were really good. Obviously, it wasn't a complete faithful adaptation. They did have to change some stuff. Um, to try to make the narrative kind of, to make the narrative sort of make sense. It was kind of an original story, but there was definitely a lot of inspirations from the movies. There were whole entire scenes that were basically recreated for this game. Which I really enjoyed all the references to the movies, all and all of that. It was very well done. Obviously, they couldn't do a true faithful adaptation because it would have been too dark for an E10 plus rated game, and like I said, just for the overall narrative of the story, it wouldn't have made sense. So it was fine for what it was. Um, there was some very challenging boss fights. Um, in particular, the final boss was very challenging. Um, um, it was nice to have the difficulty modes. There's the normal difficulty, which is sort of the vanilla difficulty that most Lego video games supposedly have. Um, I never played on normal difficulty, so I can't really comment too much on it. I mostly tried to play on Dark Knight mode, which is the hardest difficulty, and I was able to get through pretty much the majority of the game on Dark Knight difficulty. There was only a couple times I had to lower it to Cape Crusader, particularly for a couple of the boss fights, especially the final boss. Um, was very challenging, so I had to lower it to Caped Crusader, and then I was able to take out the final boss, on Caped Crusader Caped Crusader mode. So it is nice that the game allows you to change the difficulty at any time. You do have to reload at the last checkpoint, but there's many checkpoints during the level, so it's not a huge loss of time. So it is nice. I do think that the game can be pretty challenging at times, but overall I would say it's pretty reasonable to get through for the most part. The combat was very well done. They kind of took the combat from some of the Arkham games, but I felt like it was very well done. I enjoyed the combat. There's plenty of fights to get into with bad guys and stuff, so it made it really good. Um, and so I really feel like the combat was definitely one of the things that I enjoyed particularly about this game. Um, so there are 7 playable characters in this game, as previously mentioned. Um, there of course is Batman, and then there's Robin and Nightwing, which some people have said that Batman and Robin Robin and Nightwing are basically the same character. And so once you unlock Nightwing, there's really no reason to play as Robin. And that is true. Um, Robin and Nightwing do get separate gadget upgrades. Um, so they are still kind of separate characters. But yeah, Nightwing is basically just an upgrade version of Robin, which makes sense, because they're the same character. Just you know, slightly different variations. Uh, and then there's of course Jim Gordon, who I really liked playing as. There's Catwoman. Um, there's Batgirl, and then there's Talia al Ghul. And I feel like of the 7 characters, I feel like Talia was the weakest of the 7. Um, I never, I didn't play as Talia a whole lot, and her abilities were not required a ton throughout the story. So, and the story and the free roam. So I probably played as Talia the least, but all the other characters I enjoyed playing as, and I feel like they were all pretty well done. Like I said, the only minor complaint would be, Robin and Nightwing were very similar, but I think they were still different enough where, if you wanted to play as Robin, you could play as Robin, and you could play as Nightwing. Either way it was fine. Overall, I feel like the story and this game overall was definitely better designed than Lego Star Wars: The Skywalker Saga. I feel like they learned a lot from um, what they did wrong with Skywalker Saga, and I feel like developing this game with Unreal Engine was definitely a step in the right direction. I definitely think that they had a much better time with the Unreal Engine versus the NTT engine that they use for Skywalker Saga. And you can tell just with how this game looks and how it plays and all that. Um, so I think that they definitely learned a lot from Skywalker Saga, and I think they they mostly took what was good from Skywalker Saga, and I think overall this game was better done than Skywalker Saga. And so I would say that the story mode was overall really good. I really enjoyed the story mode. My personal favorite level of the story was definitely the art gallery level, um, because of the recreation of the scene from Batman 1989 was really well done. I really enjoyed it. Um, and so, but like I said, I really enjoyed the story as a whole. I really did. It wasn't. I don't think this was the best story that TT has ever done, but it's definitely up there as one of the better stories that they've done. You know, as far as trying to tie all these movies together into one complete whole narrative. You know, I think they did as good as they could with that. It's definitely a task trying to tie all these separate movies together into one complete narrative. So, but I think overall I would say the story is good. So let's talk about free roam. There are a ton of collectibles in this game, and we'll get into that when I get into 100% completion here. But there's a ton of collectibles to have it in the Gotham City free roam. It I feel like this is definitely the best Gotham City we have gotten in any Lego video game, considering that the only real contender is Lego Batman 2, and the design of this hub area was definitely much improved on the on Gotham and Lego Batman 2. It's much bigger. It's it's definitely darker. I really love the design of this hub area. I think it was very well done. Um, the fast travel was really good. Um, and overall, I would say this is one of the bigger single hub areas that we've gotten. I would say that the size of this hub area is similar to Lego City Undercover in terms of size and scope. I would say that's probably the best comparison I can make. I would say as to which one is bigger, I I don't know which one I would say is bigger. It's hard to say for sure. They're very similar in size, so it's hard to know for sure which one I think is bigger. But I think this hub area was very well done. I really enjoyed playing through and seeing all the scenery and stuff. The graphics, of course, were just amazing. Of course, I mean, you would expect nothing less on a modern Lego video game that the graphics are going to be good. There were a ton of puzzles in the hub area. There was all the Riddler and Clue Master puzzles to solve. Plus, there were puzzles to unlock some of the Wayne Tech chips and stuff. So there was a ton of puzzles to have in this game. So I really enjoyed solving them. Some of the puzzles were easier to solve than others, but overall, those were very well done. And it was nice that it wasn't like a bunch of like repetitive puzzles either. They were all pretty unique. I mean, there was some repetition, but not a lot. There was a lot of unique creative puzzles that you got to solve in this hub area. So I really feel like the puzzles were really done. The puzzle rooms were pretty clever as well. Some of those were kind of repetitive, but they all had kind of their unique twist to them. And then there's also the time trials in the hub area, and there were three types of time trials to have it. There was the vehicle trials where it was basically like a race, like in the older Lego video games. There was the combat trials where you had to defeat 3 waves of enemies in as quick amount of time as you could, and then there was the traverse trials where you had to, navigate rooftops, glide, all of that. You had to do within a certain amount of time. I wasn't the hugest fan of the time trials. I never have been. But one grace I will give this game was that the gold medal is not required on any of the time trials, at least in terms of getting 100% in this game. So that was definitely, I was very glad about that because I felt like the time trials were very difficult, and I don't know if there wasn't too many of them I got gold on. And I don't know how many more I could get gold on because a lot of them were very challenging. And so I'm glad that gold medal is not required on any of the time trials in order to get 100%. There might be something extra you get for getting gold medal in all the time trials, but I'm not going to bother to do it. So I'm just glad I got through them and was able to get the 100% without having to get gold on all of the time trials because there was no way I could. There was like 30 time trials in the game, and like I said, some of them very challenging. And there were some good side quests in the hub area as well. There was the Waylon Jones side quest, which was really cool. There was the Falcone Fortune side quest, which was really cool. And there were some other random things too as well. So I really feel like overall I really enjoyed the free roam. I think it was a really fun free roam to explore Gotham City, to discover all the various collectibles, all the solving all the puzzles and stuff, and just overall a good time, across 4 main islands, some of them separated into separate districts, which was nice. But yeah, very good, very well done. I really enjoyed a lot of this game. And so in terms of getting 100%, there are 30 skill bricks in the game. They're basically the gold bricks. There are 16 of them that you get for completing the levels. And then the rest of them you get as you complete some of the various hub world activities. You get, one for completing each side quest in the hub. You get some for completing the time trials. You get some for completing the puzzle challenges, for collecting the Wayne Tech chips. And so I feel like the first 16 bricks were very easy to get, but the rest of them took a lot longer. And so I don't know if it was necessarily the best balanced in terms of the skill bricks. Because some of them were harder to acquire than others. But the skill bricks, of course, are used to upgrade, the just the base. They're used to upgrade the combat abilities and also the traversal abilities. So I mean, it was nice that there was the upgrade system in the game. Obviously, some upgrades are better to get than others, which is, you have to kind of decide then with the initial 16 skill breaks you unlock what you want to get. And then go from there, and eventually towards the end you just randomly purchase whatever upgrades you have left until you have all 30 of the upgrades purchased, and it doesn't cost anything additional, which is nice. There are 23 red bricks in the game. There are 16 in levels, and the rest of them can be purchased in the shop. And I'll get into the red bricks more later, but yeah, so there's that. And then there are 170 Batcave trophies. There are 5 in most of the in most of the levels. Each level has 5 of them. Some levels don't have any Batcave trophies, but the ones that do, there's 5 of them. They're basically the replacement of the mini kits in this game. And then there's Batcave trophies scattered throughout the hub area, as well as actually in the Batcave. In the Batcave, they were actually, the classic mini kits. So that was kind of nice to see mini kits make a reappearance in this game. There are 121 puzzles in this game, which are the Riddler and Clue Master puzzles. Some of those that includes all the puzzle rooms as well as just the puzzles scattered throughout the hub area. There are 200 Wayne Tech chips. Most of the Wayne Tech chips are in the hub area. Some levels have Wayne Tech chips, and when the levels do, there's 5 in those. There's 5 in each of those levels that have them. So that was an additional collectible, and you use the Wayne Tech chips to upgrade your gadgets, which, I don't necessarily know if I really exploited the gadget upgrades all that much, but it was nice. Plus, there were some additional rewards that you got for collecting the Wayne Tech chips. You got skill bricks for collecting them. You got suits and I think there were some vehicles that you unlocked for collecting Wayne Tech chips. So it made it worth your while to collect all 200 Wayne Tech chips. So I don't feel like it was, entirely pointless. There are 30 vehicles in the game. A number of them you unlock during the story mode. Some of them a lot of them you can purchase. Some of them you have to unlock and then purchase. But there was a good selection of vehicles to have in this game. A lot of the vehicles were kind of character specific, so you had to play as that character in order to drive that vehicle. Only the vehicle assigned to a particular character could be driven by that character. For example, all the Batmobiles could only be driven by Batman. And so there were all the vehicles were tied to a specific character. And so it would have been kind of nice if any character could unlock and drive any vehicle. That would have been nicer, but I understand they wanted to make it character specific. So there are 100 suits suits in the game. That doesn't include like all the DLC suits or any of the additional suits that you can unlock. But there are 100 suits in the base game. And again, a lot of those you unlock as you play through the story. Some of them you unlock as you do the free roam progression. So, and so that is what is all required for 100%. There are some optional things in the hub area. As previously mentioned, the time trials it's optional to get gold medal on those. You can go ahead and get gold medal on all 30 of those if you really want to challenge. Go for that. There's also 50 bat symbol tokens scattered throughout the hub area. They're not marked on the map in any way. They're completely hidden, and so I only unlocked like a few of, or I only found like a few of them as I played through the game. And so I didn't specifically go for those because they weren't required for 100%, so I didn't bother to collect all 50 of those. But if you do collect all 50 of those, you do get unlock the robotic T-Rex in the Batcave. So it might be worth going for it, but trying to find those in the hub area, easier said than done. I think probably the best way to do it would be to look up a video on YouTube and find the tokens that way with a guide or something like that, because otherwise, like I said, they're not marked in the map at all, and there's really no good way to find those. There's a bunch of other random there's like random Easter eggs and other things that you can do. There's a bunch of stuff that can be there's a bunch of it there's a bunch of Batcave decorations that can be purchased in the shop. I purchased some of them, but I haven't purchased all of them yet. I didn't really spend too much time with the customizable Batcave because um, I didn't really see the need to do it. But it does give you a good share of things that you can customize if you want to. So it is nice that was kind of a feature in the game. Um, so, and there are additional like secret rewards and stuff you can unlock. But I didn't bother to get all that. So the reward just for getting 100% for collecting all the main collectibles in the game is there is a secret room in the Batcave that unlocks when you get 100%. It is the Batman 66 Batcave. Um, and so there's that, and then there's also some Bane phone calls on the Bat phone where you answer the Bat phone and it's Bane and he says something funny, and so there's that too. So I don't know if the reward was necessarily like entirely worth getting 100%. It would have been nice if they would have had like a stud fountain or something. I think that would have been more better, and we'll talk about that in a little bit here as to why I think that would have been a better reward. Um, because there's not really too many good ways to grind for studs in this game, as it turns out. And so it would have been nice if they would have done like a stud fountain or something for 100% in this one. I think that would have been appropriate for this game. I know they've done stud fountains for previous Lego video game. This Lego video game, I feel like, needs it more than the rest of them. And we'll talk about that here in just a minute. But I'm glad that there at least is a reward for getting 100%. I feel like, as always with a lot of Lego video games, it's not the destination, it's the journey. And so the journey to collect all the various stuff in the game, it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed doing it, and so it was fine. It wasn't maybe the best reward we've gotten, but it's certainly better than nothing. Which there are some Lego video games where you don't get anything for getting 100%. So it's better than that. So that's what I will say there. So there are two major criticisms I have for this game. The first criticism I have of this game is that the red bricks are basically useless. There are 23 red bricks, and some of them you unlock in the levels, and the rest can be purchased, as I said. But basically, all the red bricks do is they are modifiers for your suits. So basically, they just add a different look to your suits based on what the red brick is. I, as a fan of I've been a fan of Lego video games for a long time, and I always felt like the red bricks, should be used for extras. That's what they always have been. And so the fact that the red bricks have been basically nullified or reduced to this sort of state where they basically don't really do much of anything. There's no extras in this game. There's no there's no stud. There's not really a stud multiplier. There is the stud combo meter, which is different. And I don't know if I necessarily liked that, but it was better than nothing. But I mean, at least have the stud multipliers. Stud times 2 times 4 times 6 times 8. All of those have been a staple in every Lego video game since the beginning. And so the fact that those are absent in this game was a real letdown for me. I really felt like, it's like if you're going to have the red bricks in the game, they should actually do something worthwhile. It should be, it should be, it should be, you know, finding and getting a red brick in a level always felt special to me because, the red bricks were really sought after because, they did some cool things, they made the game better, and so the fact that the red bricks were basically reduced to a pretty sad state, I felt like that was a major letdown for me, and so I didn't particularly care for that. My other big issue of the game is that there is no free play in the levels. The levels can be replayed, but you can't change characters. You're locked to the characters that you had in story mode. Which, I understand. I can kind of understand why they did it. But on the other hand, it's like, what's the point then? If you know where everything is, you can complete the levels entirely in story mode. There's no point. I mean, unless you miss stuff in story mode, which is which you can potentially miss stuff if you don't know where it's at, of course. But and then you can go back and replay the level. That's fine, but the fact that you can change characters and that there's no really too many like secret areas in the levels, I felt like that was a huge letdown for me because that's been a feature of Lego video games since the beginning, is the ability to go back and replay levels and change between characters that you've previously unlocked and use their abilities to find the secret rooms, the mini kits and stuff that you missed, all of that. I really feel like that was a huge letdown for me in this game, and so I didn't appreciate that. Those are definitely my two biggest criticisms of this game, are the fact that the red bricks are basically useless and that there's no free play at all in this game. And so that really kind of it definitely let me down. And so but overall, I would still say this game is still pretty good despite those criticisms that I do have. And I would go as far to say is I think this game is a solid 9 out of 10. I really enjoyed playing through this game. I really enjoyed, the movie references were really good. Um, I felt like the characters for the most part were very well done. The story was decent. It wasn't the best story we've gotten, but it was pretty good for what we got. Um, the hub area design was really good. I really enjoyed that. Um, this game was definitely a lot of fun. I had a ton of fun with this one. I was really looking forward to this. I really enjoyed it, and I would definitely play this game again at some point. This game is definitely not as much of a slog as Skywalker Saga is, and so I feel like this game is definitely a lot better to get through than Skywalker Saga. So overall, I would say 9 out of 10 is a pretty fair score. You know, those two negative factors are probably what prevents this game from being a perfect 10 out of 10 for me. Um, and most of the reviews I saw gave this game like an 8 out of 10, which I think 8 out of 10 is pretty fair. I would say 9 mostly just because I think what was done right in this game was done really well, and there was a lot that was done right in this game. I feel like the gameplay was really good, the hub world design was really good, the puzzles were a lot of fun. Just overall, I'd say most of this game was done real well. There's just those two major criticisms I have. I mean, like I said, the fact that gold medal was not required in time trials, that is definitely the one grace I will give this game. Um, if gold medal were required in the time trials for 100%, I definitely think this game would definitely be lowered score wise because that would have been very frustrating to have to do that. So I will give it that credit, and so I really enjoyed it. So this game I would definitely consider let's playing this game at some point in the future. I don't know if I would let's play it right now, but maybe at some point down the road, I would definitely consider doing a let's play of this game. Let me know if you would be interested in me playing this game at some point in the comments. Like I said, I don't think I would do it right away, but maybe at some point in the future, I would definitely consider doing a let's play of this game because I really do think that this game was very well done and I enjoyed it. So overall, really solid, good game. And so I think TT did a really excellent job. And, they partnered with Rocksteady, the creator of the Arkham games, to develop this game. And I think that was really good. So a really good partnership. But, I still feel like this game, even though there are a lot of Arkham elements in this game, I still feel like overall this game is still, a Lego video game. This is what we've come to, this is still it's still got a lot of the spirit, even if some things from previous Lego video games were removed. Obviously, like I said, free play was removed basically, and the red bricks were reduced, and also there was no like stud meter like true Jedi or superhero, whatever you want to call it, true adventure. There was not that wasn't present in this game, but that wasn't a huge factor for me. It was just the lack of the red bricks being reduced and the fact that free play wasn't really a thing in this game. That was unfortunate. So, but like I said, I will definitely play this game again and maybe possibly let's play this game in the future. Let me know what you think. And so, how this game ranks in terms of other Lego video games, I can't talk about this Lego video game without, saying where I think this game ends up stacking against the rest of them. I still think Lego Marvel Superheroes is still the gold standard of Lego video games. I still think it's the best overall. Um, can it be topped? Maybe, possibly in the future. It could be, but for now, I don't think Legacy of the Dark Knight is better than Lego Marvel Superheroes. I think overall, I would still say Lego Marvel Superheroes is still better in every way. Maybe not so much graphics wise, but overall, everything else in Lego Marvel Superheroes was done better than Lego Batman Legacy Dark Knight. Maybe obviously it still has the old school combat, but there's still something to be said about the old school combat. And then Lego The Lord of the Rings, I would still put number 2, mostly because Lord of the Rings I feel like was a more faithful adaptation to the movies. Whereas in this game, obviously I understand liberties had to be taken. They had to change some stuff for the narrative and such. I understand that, but I would say that Lego Lord of the Rings overall still a more faithful adaptation to the Lord of the Rings movies, and maybe if they just focused on one, like if they just did a Batman game that focused on just the Nolan trilogy, they maybe could have done a better job. But I understand they wanted to tie in some of the other Batman movies too, and don't get me wrong, I'm glad they did. I liked the references to some of the other movies like Batman '89 and such. And so I don't think it was bad, but if they, like I said, if they made a Batman game that focused on just the Dark Knight trilogy, I think that would have maybe worked better narratively. Obviously, there would have still been a lot that they would have had to change or cut out because of how dark it is. But I still think that this game is still pretty good. But I think Lego The Lord of the Rings is a better faithful adaptation. Lego City Undercover I would put it third because I feel like the story in Lego City Undercover is done much better in that game. I really enjoyed the story mode for Lego City Undercover. You know, I did the Let's Play of the game, and so I feel like the Lego City Undercover is still better. In terms of hub areas, I would say Legacy Dark Knight probably is better than Lego City Undercover, but Lego City Undercover I still feel like overall still I would say is a better game. But I would definitely put Lego Batman Legacy Dark Knight at 4th place. Because I really feel like it's up there as one of the best Lego video games we have gotten. I do appreciate this game for what it did, for the innovations, for the changes, for the most part. I think overall this game worked really well. You know, there was a few things I didn't like, but overall I feel like this game was very well done, and so I would definitely put it at 4th place. In terms of Lego Star Wars: The Skywalker Saga, I do feel like I was a little too nice to that game when it first came out and I first played it. I'm not as much of a fan of Skywalker Saga as what I used to be. I think that game is a slog. It's kind of devoid of especially the hub worlds are devoid of like, you know, interactions and stuff. The hub worlds are pretty empty and there's really not much going on. Whereas I feel like there's a lot going on in Gotham City in this game. So I do appreciate that. There's a lot of Easter eggs to have in this game, and I didn't even experience all the Easter eggs, but I know there's a bunch. And so I do think that TT has definitely improved over what they did in Skywalker Saga, and overall, I feel like they created a much better Lego video game than Skywalker Saga was. But I still think Lego Marvel Superheroes is still the gold standard, still the best. Can it be beat? Maybe, but we will have to see in the future if that is going to happen. But for now, this is where Lego Batman Legacy Dark Knight stacks up, and so overall, really good game. I really enjoyed it. So, like I said, I think I hit on pretty much everything I wanted to personally talk about this game. Let me know in the comments if I missed anything or if there's anything you want to add to what I said or anything else. And like I said, let me know in the comments if you want me to do a potential Let's Play of this game in the future. I would definitely consider it. And it's definitely something that I think would be kind of fun to do a Let's Play of this game at some point in the future. I'm glad I didn't the first time I played through it. I usually like to play through a Lego video game at least a time or two before I Let's Play it, just so I'm familiar with it and kind of know what I'm doing. But yeah, let me know in the comments what you think. Is there anything I missed? Do you agree with the points I made? Do you disagree? Where did you end up on this game? Is this your favorite Lego video game of all time? I'm guessing that for most people, they're probably gonna say it's not, but there might be some that would say this is their favorite. But I think overall, I think there's better Lego video games out there. For me, Lego Marvel Superheroes is definitely better. But like I said, for what this game was, it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. Obviously, I can't comment on the Mayhem collection because that's not dropping until September. So, I may possibly do a separate video later on reviewing the Mayhem collection that dropping in September. In terms of the other DLC, it's just additional suits and stuff. So I honestly could take or leave the DLC currently. I didn't think it really added a lot to the game. But I am definitely going to want to check out the Mayhem collection because it is going to feature an additional level as well as some additional stuff as well. So I definitely will want to check that out when it drops in September. So But that is going to do it, I believe, for this review. Let me know, like I said, let me know if there's anything I missed or if there's anything you want me to comment further on. I'll try my best to comment and to respond to any questions or anything. If there's anything you want me to comment further on. But overall, like I said, really good game. I really enjoyed it. I think TT definitely is on a better path now than what they were previously, and I hope for good things in the future. I really do. I'm trying to remain hopeful for TT Games that that they've got some more good stuff coming down the pike, and hopefully we'll get to see some more good Lego video games in the future. I hope, like I said, I hope this is kind of a good reset point for them. I do believe in a lot of ways this was a good reset for them. And so I think overall TT did really well with this game, and I definitely enjoyed it. A lot of fun, a lot of good stuff in this game, a lot of good content. So definitely, I'm sure most of you all have played this game already, but if you haven't, definitely check it out. Um, you know, you can decide for yourself if you think the DLC is going to be worth it or not. I mean, we'll see when the Mayhem collection comes out in September if that's going to make it worth it. But otherwise, right now, I don't really think it was that worth it. But anyway. So that's going to do it for me. Like I said, the next thing coming up on this channel is, of course, the Let's Play for LEGO Marvel Superheroes, my personal favorite LEGO video game of all time. I've been wanting to do a proper Let's Play of LEGO Marvel Superheroes for quite some time, so I'm definitely looking forward to that. And so look for those videos coming here in the not in the very near future. I would say maybe in a week or two, maybe a few weeks, just depending on when I record the videos and when I decide to upload. Because I usually like to get a share of videos recorded and then upload them, and then start publishing them. So we'll see how it goes. But look for those videos coming in the not so too distant future. But otherwise, that is going to do it. So if you enjoyed this video, be sure to smash that like button for me. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think about the game. If there's anything I missed or anything else you want me to further expand on or whatever. And also hit that subscribe button because, like I said, there's more LEGO Marvel Superheroes will be coming here shortly. So subscribe to get notified when those videos are going to be dropping. But that's going to do it for me. So thank you all for watching, and we will see you next time for LEGO Marvel Superheroes. I'm definitely looking forward to it. So we'll see you then. Until then, it's Jokel10 signing out.